When you first take the DJI Neo 2 out of the box, it feels deceptively simple. It's small, lightweight, almost toy-like at first glance, and everything about it suggests that you can just power it on and start flying. And technically, you can. The drone will lift off, it will hover, it will record video, and it will probably impress you within the first minute. But that surface-level experience hides a much deeper system underneath. The Neo 2 is packed with features that are either disabled, limited, or quietly misconfigured out of the box. If you ignore them, you'll still fly, but you'll never see what this drone is actually capable of. Today is about fixing that. These are the 10 things you should do immediately before your first serious flight. So you start with the Neo 2 at its full potential, rather than discovering limitations the hard way later. The first step is also the least exciting, but it's the most important: updating every single battery. When you power on the Neo 2 for the first time, it will prompt you to update the drone's firmware. Most people run that update once, see the completion message, and assume the job is done. It's not. Each Neo 2 battery contains its own firmware. Inside every pack is a small controller responsible for power delivery, charging behavior, thermal management, and safety limits. If the firmware on that battery doesn't match the drone, you can lose features, trigger restrictions, or experience inconsistent performance. After the main update finishes, remove the battery, insert the next one, reconnect the app, and wait for the smaller battery firmware prompt to appear. Let it finish completely. Repeat this for every battery you own. This takes a few extra minutes at home, but it prevents warnings, forced limitations, and unexpected interruptions in the field. Once everything is updated, the next thing you should do is take control of the quick modes. Out of the box, the Neo 2 only exposes a small subset of what it can actually do. Many of the more advanced flight and camera modes exist, but they're hidden until you manually enable them. Inside the settings menu, you'll find the option to customize modes. You'll see two lists, one for active modes and one for hidden modes. Anything below the line simply won't appear on the drone's interface, especially when flying without your phone. Drag the modes you care about into the active list. Dolly zoom, advanced follow modes, orbit styles, and dynamic shots should all be placed where you can access them quickly. This one adjustment completely changes how flexible the drone feels. Instead of digging through menus or reconnecting your phone mid-session, the tools you actually want are always available. Next, gesture control. This is one of the most misunderstood features on the Neo 2. Many people try it immediately, wave their hands, and assume it doesn't work. The reality is that gesture control is disabled by default. To activate it, connect your phone, open the app, tap the palm icon, and follow the short activation process. Once enabled, gestures allow you to launch, start recording, stop recording, and frame shots without touching the drone or controller. For solo filming, hiking, cycling, or any situation where your hands are busy, this becomes one of the most powerful features on the Neo 2. It's not a gimmick, it's a genuine workflow improvement when used correctly. Now we move to obstacle avoidance, and this is where the Neo 2's behavior really starts to matter. You have three main options: off, brake, and bypass. Turning obstacle avoidance off gives you complete manual control, but zero protection. Brake mode tells the drone to slow down and stop when it detects an obstacle. Bypass mode is more advanced. Instead of stopping, the drone tries to intelligently route around the obstacle and continue the shot. Inside bypass, you'll find two sub-modes, normal and nifty. Normal keeps a conservative distance. Nifty allows the drone to pass closer to objects for smoother, more cinematic movement. Choosing the right option here fundamentally changes how the drone feels in flight. Brake mode is safer for beginners and unfamiliar locations. Bypass with Nifty is ideal for tree-lined paths, urban shots, and dynamic tracking. FPV pilots often turn avoidance off entirely to avoid interruptions. The key is deciding this before takeoff, not while reacting mid-flight. Camera settings are next, and this is where many people unknowingly lock themselves into bad defaults. The Neo 2 remembers the last camera settings you used. Resolution, frame rate, color profile, and orientation all persist between sessions. That means whatever you set the first time becomes the drone's long-term behavior. Take a moment to decide what you actually want. If you prefer 4K at 60 frames, set it now. If you plan to shoot vertical content, enable it deliberately. If you want a less processed image, choose the appropriate color profile. Doing this once saves you from constantly checking settings and wondering later why footage doesn't match your expectations. Charging speed is another detail that dramatically affects real-world use. The Neo 2 battery hub is capable of charging 3 batteries in roughly an hour, but only if you use a high wattage USB-C charger. Something around 60 to 65 watts is ideal. Low wattage chargers slow the process to a crawl. Charging through the drone itself is even slower, capped at around 15 watts. Always charge through the hub when possible. Faster charging means more flying and less waiting, especially on travel days or tight shooting schedules. Now, let's address image sharpness, because this directly impacts how your footage looks. Out of the box, the Neo 2 applies aggressive sharpening. It looks crisp on a phone screen, but it introduces unnatural edges, especially in foliage and textures. Reducing sharpness to -2 produces a far more natural image. The problem is that you can't change this setting from the phone app. You need a compatible controller or FPV goggles to access the advanced camera menu. Once you lower sharpness, the improvement is immediate. Footage looks smoother, more cinematic, and more flexible for editing later. Insurance is next, and while it's not exciting, it's worth serious consideration. DJI Care Refresh for the Neo 2 is relatively affordable compared to larger drones. It covers crashes, flyaways, and accidents that are easy to make with such a small, agile drone. If you plan to fly in tight spaces or challenging environments, Care Refresh removes a lot of stress. Just remember that it must be activated within 48 hours of activating the drone. Miss that window and the option disappears. ND filters are another upgrade that transforms footage, especially in bright conditions. Without ND filters, shutter speed skyrockets in sunlight, creating jittery motions and overly sharp movement. Adding an ND filter like ND16 or ND32 restores natural motion blur and smooths out movement instantly. You don't need them every day, but when conditions demand them, the difference is impossible to ignore. Finally, the most important step is learning the Neo 2's behavior. This drone is small, but its flight logic is sophisticated. It adapts, it anticipates, it smooths inputs over time. Spend 20 minutes experimenting, fly into the wind, fly with it, repeat the same shot, observe how it slows, how it climbs, how it compensates for gusts. The more you understand these patterns, the better your footage becomes. At that point, you stop fighting the drone and start collaborating with it. These 10 steps unlock the real Neo 2. Better stability, better footage, better control, and a smoother workflow from the very first flight. Set it up properly once, and the drone rewards you every time you take off. So let me know what setting you changed on your Neo 2, or what's one thing you wish you knew before flying it. Alright, that is it for today, and I will see you in the next one.